But Mark, let's close out our mock draft going through 22 through 32. You're going to start us off with the Buffalo Bills.
I sure am.
Via the Chiefs, their second pick. Who you got starting at 22?
Yep. So Josh Jackson, cornerback out of Iowa. The first two were my fallers. Just finally ended the free fall.
Because they're free.
Derwin James going to the Rams, the safety out of Florida State. Christian Kirk, wide receiver, Texas A&M, going to the Panthers. The Titans getting Harold Landry, pass rush out of Boston College. Friend of the show, Mo Hurst, defensive lineman from Michigan, going to the Falcons. Ronnie Harrison, safety out of Alabama. This is a nice one. I like a climber here. Going to the Saints. Speaking of climbers, this is a brand new guy right here, but I think people are going to learn this guy's name because I see him climbing quite a bit. I like this guy a lot. Steelers, Darius Leonard, inside linebacker out of, you've never heard of it before, South Carolina State.
I will say that is going to be one. I know the graphic is up now. That's going to be a fun one to find that logo.
Yep.
Finding that PNG.
It's a cool logo, though. It actually is kind of interesting. There's a little dude in it. But anyways, the Jaguars going with Martinez Rankin, tackle, Mississippi. We're going to go with the Vikings, Lamar Jackson, quarterback, Louisville. They love their Louisville quarterbacks. Patriots getting Harrison Phillips, defensive tackle out of Stanford. And then the Eagles, Marcus Davenport, defensive tackle, Texas, San Antonio.
Now, the one thing I'm going to correct you because I know they've already gone in the comment section.
Is it my Mississippi?
Mississippi
State.
They get mad.
Yeah.
One's the Rebels. Ole Miss is the Rebels.
I get it.
Mississippi State's the Bulldogs.
It's fair. I mean, I just, I don't pay attention to Mississippi.
It's like the Illini and the Redbirds. Illinois State, Illinois.
I would say probably like the Michigan State.
That too.
Because honestly, if people
go green, go white.
Nobody cares about U of I versus ISU in Illinois. Neither one of the teams are
worthwhile. One's an
worthwhile.
NCAA school. The other one is a D2 school.
Yeah. Well,
or an
NCAA
FCS school.
still.
FCS, but I'm talking D1 compared to, I think it's FCS or D2.
FBS and FCS, I think.
I think FCS is Illinois State.
Yeah.
I think they're right below the FBS. But let's go with mine. Number 22, the Buffalo Bills closing out their two picks, drafting Derwin, bringing the pain, defensive tackle from Alabama. Then the Rams at 23 going Billy Price, the center from the Ohio State University. Then a little bit of a faller. He fell in my 2. He fell in my 3. Panthers going with Mike McGlinchey, the offensive tackle from Notre Dame. Titans, they're taking Marcus Davenport, a new arrival to my mock draft, defensive end from UTSA. 26, the Falcons going with friend of the show, Mo Hurst, defensive lineman from Michigan. The Saints going with Mason Rudolph, quarterback from Oklahoma State. The Steelers going with Ronnie Harrison, the safety from Alabama. The Jaguars going wide receiver. They're going to take James Washington, the wide receiver out of Oklahoma State. The Vikings, my Vikings, going offensive line, Martinez Rankin, going the offensive tackle from Mississippi State. Then Arden Key going 31 to the Patriots, defensive end from LSU. And rounding everything out for this mock draft, the Eagles drafting at 32. They're going with Connor Williams, offensive tackle via Texas. And the first guy I want to ask you about, the fall has finally ended. Derwin James, the safety, we wanted to hit on him. We talked about him a little bit before. Why'd you have him fall all the way to 23?
Well, honestly, part of it is there's a two-part equation. One, the whole I'm going to be the best safety in less than 3 years.
You like a guy?
I don't know.
You like a guy with confidence in himself,
You do like
right?
a guy with confidence, but at the same time, I sit there and I go, are you going to be a distraction? Like, are you really going to do that right now? Come on, man. Don't start it right now. You're not even drafted yet. That's part of the thing. But really, for me, it just came down to this. I look at teams' needs, and even though there were times where I would sit there and say, well, he's probably a better player, but they can fill a need with a guy who is still relatively, equal in certain ways. And then there was a while where just teams didn't need him. I thought about the Packers at 14 instead of a corner. Going with the safety, but I would rather have them lock in a cornerback. I even thought about it for the Bills as well. But once again, it was going, putting Jackson opposite of White, I think, is a great combination. And then it didn't matter because it was just one pick more. But yeah, he certainly fell. I have a little bit of consequence towards the question of will GMs be scared of a distraction now? And I mean, we had Jameis Winston just because of the FSU connection here, Florida State. And even Jalen Ramsey's a bit of a talker too, and teams haven't been scared of those guys.
Jalen Ramsey's the first guy I think of because he's a guy that's because the thing I think of is from the Pro Bowl is he was talking to I can't even remember who he was talking to. Oh, it was Von Miller. Oh. He was talking to Von Miller because Von Miller said this on the DP show. He goes, I was talking to Jalen Ramsey about trash talking because Von goes, I never trash talk. He goes, because I'm the guy where I could beat you one play, but then what if you beat me the next play? Then it's great. I got to eat crow. I'm putting my foot in my mouth. Yeah. And he was talking to Jalen Ramsey about that. Ramsey's the guy where he's like, no, talk trash. You're the best. If they beat you, it's a fluke, and so show them why on the next play. He's like, if someone goes, I beat you there, just say it's a fluke. It's a fluke. You got me? It's a fluke. Because I'm the best. It's a fluke. So, I mean, that's why I see the little alpha dogism in Jalen Ramsey too. I don't think coaches and players and locker rooms will be afraid of that. I'm looking at a quote here on NFL.com from an NFC scouting director about Derwin James. Here's what they said. And I quote, he's going to be the dude in any locker room he ends up in. That's his makeup. Physically, he's probably more talented than Jamal Adams, but Adams was more consistent as a player. Derwin is still learning, so he has a sky-high projection if his play can catch up to his talent. That's the thing for me. That's why I had him fall in this mock draft is the talent is there, but can you put it together? There is no mistake that this year, production-wise for Derwin James, almost said German James, Derwin James was not where it was supposed to be. So, to me, going off of your point, it's great if you're the alpha, but let's go
to back it up.
Well, let's go to Jalen Ramsey. Why is it not a problem? Because he backs it up.
Yep.
He backs it up. He's a cornerstone of that secondary in Jacksonville, or Saxonville, as they like to call him. That's why no one questions it. They're only going to question you as a distraction when when you're not paying dividends. Like Odell Beckham makes a catch behind his head, not a distraction. Gets into a fight with Josh Norman on the field, he's a distraction. So it's kind of the same way here.
And I think it's good, too, for James that he is pretty versatile. I mean, he can be useful in the run. He's a big guy where he can cover a lot of different kinds of receiving options. But I think at the same time, I think coaches are going to have some debate on how they're going to use him a little bit. And I think that'll be very interesting to see the end result of exactly how he's going to be used by teams.
Now, the next thing I want to get into is we tease these fans enough. We said in the last segment, hey, we're going to talk about you guys. Bills have double picks. They had the 21 and 22. I had them going quarterback Lamar Jackson, Derwin bringing the pain. You had them go with Rashaan Evans, inside linebacker, and Josh Jackson, cornerback from Iowa.
Yep.
What were your thoughts? What are you thinking about the Bills?
For me, it's a couple things. I mean, linebacker position for the Bills is awful. They need some serious addressing of that. They've got about one decent linebacker in the whole group. So getting Rashaan Evans essentially says, reboot, this is your linebacking core. You make it good. You're the leader of this defense. Josh Jackson, like I said, being the opposite over of White. And, he can be a guy who can push him a little bit further, who can kind of lock down receivers pretty well. I think Josh Jackson really would add a lot to this defense. And this, to me, really symbolizes the Bills saying, we know we don't have a quarterback right now, but I think they might be a dark horse destination for some of these free agent quarterbacks. So I think there's a good chance they'll figure something out. They don't have a quarterback, but they're going to really shore up that defense because that defense has been promising year after year after year. it doesn't necessarily materialize completely because the rest of the offense isn't exactly there. But they have good wide receiving options. They have a great running back. They're missing this quarterback, but I think you can maybe squeeze somebody in there. If we think of a Nick Foles situation, a Case Keenum situation, you can squeeze somebody in there and have them be successful if there's a great defense and if there's a great, run game to help support you as well.
Two things I want to mention. First off, well, three things. First off, I love your Evans pickup, the linebacker position. The only reason why I didn't have him go there, I didn't have a good linebacker for them to pick. Like, Evans went 13 in mine. Roquan Smith was off the board at 11. And it's like, at that point where my draft was kind of playing out, I'm like, I don't feel confident dipping into the next inside linebacker, the next linebacker after that, because I'll be honest, linebacker in general is the number one, I'm going to say number one need of this team. I know NFL.com has quarterback as the number one need. I'm sorry, I would go linebacker as the number one. The number two to me would be defensive tackle, the second position that I went to. However, when you have back-to-back picks, it don't matter what order you pick them in.
Yeah.
You just make the picks, and to me, that's why best available defensive tackle is Daron Payne. You've got a guy, like, you went ahead, and this was Rex Ryan days, I know, but you go ahead and you draft a guy like Adolphus Washington. You've got Kyle Williams there, but yet again, a unrestricted free agent. I don't know why I said restricted there, but he's a free agent right now. Is he going to come back? Are you going to bring him back? Is he going to sign with you guys? That's the big thing, and he's 34. And I'm mistaken. I'm going to have to look it up while you're talking. There might even be something where he might not be coming back. So with that, you've got to go with a defensive tackle. Then the other side of, you mentioned of, do they go with can they get a free agent quarterback? I say if you're Buffalo, unless it's Kirk Cousins, which I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to the Bills. I think the teams are Vikings, Broncos, Cardinals, or the Browns. The Jets are there, but I don't think it's going to happen. Those are really the only teams I could see him going to. I would be fine with the Bills going, hey, we're going to keep Tyrod for this year. He'll be our starter. Lamar Jackson's an amazing athlete, works on his accuracy, can be that Heisman caliber athlete that he was. Eventually, he can then take the job from Tyrod Taylor.
I can't imagine that Tyrod Taylor wants to be in Buffalo, and I don't imagine Buffalo wants Tyrod. They've made it abundantly clear that they will try and make him not work for them, essentially, and I can't imagine they do. And that's one of the things where it is hard for me to think that they wouldn't take a quarterback, but there's just not a good option. I mean, Lamar Jackson, to me, that's just a throwaway. If you're drafting him right there, you're throwing that pick away.
You think so?
I do, and it's not necessarily because I'm saying Lamar Jackson's a terrible quarterback, but it's like he's just not the first-round talent. That's going to be essentially like a Paxton Lynch type of situation of you're going to get him, you're going to stash him, and you're going to hope that maybe it works out in the 5 years that you have an opportunity with a first-round pick. Paxton Lynch didn't work out. I can't imagine Lamar Jackson really is going to take over. He will be forced to if he goes to Buffalo much too early, and honestly, it's not going to work out. They're going to bench Tyrod again, then put Lamar Jackson in there. Lamar Jackson luckily won't throw 5 interceptions, but won't do that well, and all of a sudden Tyrod's going to come back in. It would just be an absolute mess, I think, for the Bills to do that.
And the one thing I want to mention is when I said Kyle Williams, the retired thing, I believe, and Bills fans help me out, I believe I'm mixing him up with Eric Wood. Eric Wood, the guy who might retire from the Bills. Kyle Williams is just a free agent. And really it depends on what they do. Like, looking at that defensive side, if they go ahead and, because there's going to be free agent guys out there for them. Like, Sheldon, I'm looking at the BuffaloRamblings.com, which is SB Nation, and they're saying, if they get Sheldon Richardson, who's going to be an unrestricted free agent.
Sure.
If they get Dontari Poe, if they get Star Latuile, if they get Benny Logan, all of these guys kind of late 20s, around our age, 27, 28, for them to kind of get to replace it, then it's like, okay, maybe you don't have to go with a Daron Payne, but it's going to be interesting with the Bills where they are and who's off the board and who's available there, because if a linebacker's there, go ahead and get him.
Yeah.
However, it's what are you really going to do? What are you really going to take? I want to move on, though, to my Vikings. And the reason why is you had them go with Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
This is another team like the Cardinals, don't have a single quarterback signed. I'm assuming Teddy's going to come back. I don't know if we're going to franchise Case Keenum. Don't know if we're going to get Kirk Cousins. What's going through your head when you ink down Lamar Jackson to my purple people eaters?
Well, I mean, I think you've been saying the franchising Case Keenum
It's
thing.
an option. It's an option that they could do.
I don't think it really is.
I don't want them to do it, but people say it's an option.
I don't know why people keep saying it. I mean, if you franchise Kirk, I keep almost saying Kirk Cousins.
He's been franchised
Case Keenum,
enough.
And Jimmy Garoppolo is the one who did this with his contract, and we'll see what happens with the next contract that gets done with Kirk Cousins. But franchising Case Keenum would make him the second highest paid quarterback this year. Case Keenum, the second highest paid quarterback.
Hey, man, he was
no way.
One win away from the Super Bowl, baby.
Yeah, and Nick Foles was a Super Bowl MVP, so anything can happen. But, yeah, you just can't do that. I mean, it's not going to work out for you, I don't think. You're really, really overpaying a guy who's you can get better.
So what would you do? Let's say barring Kirk Cousins doesn't go to the Vikings, because really Kirk Cousins is the trump card.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins obviously ruins everything for this scenario that I'm laying out, but I don't think they're going to get one of these guys. I think they go and they end up with some journeyman backup quarterback and probably just a big question mark at quarterback again with Teddy. And when is he going to be ready? When is he going to be healthy? Lamar Jackson is an option there just for them to basically say, well, in case Teddy doesn't get better, we have something. Lamar Jackson doesn't have any pressure to start if Teddy is going to be here. We might even be able to trade the guy later, potentially. Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett style. So it really just kind of allows them to be very flexible, because I don't think there would be any pressure for Lamar Jackson to start when they would draft him in this situation. Even if you have week one journeyman quarterback that's starting, because Teddy's not going to be ready till week 3, 4, 5, whatever it might be. But hey, I mean, he threw some footballs out there this past year.
He threw an interception.
He did. That's good, right? And I think that he's going to have a whole offseason. I think Teddy's coming back this year. I'm surprised because he got destroyed. I think he's going to be back, and I think that
I expect them to, because
fine.
Zimdog likes Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah,
he does, and that's why to me, this mock draft, I'm saying it for the third time. All of it. This is the most hey, we're going to change this, but in a month when we do this on the 13th of March, it's all going to change again.
Yeah,
because free agents are going to fall, pieces are going to go where they may. And we're going to get a better image of oh, this was a need then, but you got this free agent.
Yeah,
it's not really a need right now. I expect Teddy to be back. To me, I think the big thing with this is, and I'm kind of banking on I'm not banking on it oh, I'm hoping for it, but I'm banking on the decision of Kirk Cousins or Case Keenum being on the roster next year. One of those two things is going to happen, like it or not. I think in my mind, that's why I have them go offensive line, because it's hey, you know what? What beat us in the NFC Championship game? A pass rush. What do I not want to beat us again? A pass rush. Go with an offensive lineman to help shore that up. I want to look at the Titans. They're another team like the Lions, adding a new coach in Mike Vrabel coming in. What was going through your head with the Titans when you inked down Harold Landry?
Well, I mean, to me, it's that the Titans could use a little bit of help on defense. You got a guy who you imagine is going to want some defensive help. I mean, It's tough for me for an extent because part of me just says give everything to Marcus Mariota that he could ever possibly want.
Give him the keys to the kingdom.
Exactly, but
He
the
should
flip
already
side
have
of it,
them, but
yeah, the flip side of it to me is the fact that you need to get some type of further help, and I think more pass rush is the way to go for this. I mean, the AFC South has some good quarterbacks in it. You need somebody that's going to stop them from having all day to throw the ball. You need somebody who's going to add that pressure into their face. And Landry was slipping a little bit for me, too, in the draft. He's gone higher for sure. So I think that this was a good bargain pick for the Titans, and it just makes sense for what they need.
And mine is, I'm dead on with you. Pass rush is the number one need. That's why for me, because the thing I like with yours is, yeah, you got Derek Morgan, yeah, you got Brian Orakpo out there for the outside linebackers, but you can kind of shift Landry from that on the line. He can then be a linebacker if you need him to come off that way. However, with me, Landry being off the board, I really love Marcus Davenport. I loved what I saw from him at the Senior Bowl, and he, to me, is one of those guys where he cracked my big board for the first time in the last one that Brandon and I did. He's now cracking the first round for me. This is a guy coming from a smaller school with the Roadrunners, but he is a guy that has all the tools to be a pass rusher, and what's going to be the one thing to push the Titans over the line? A quality pass rusher to go against those quarterbacks that you just discussed. Because like Blake Bortles, how do you get to him? You pressure him. That's how you do it. Andrew Luck, you hit him enough times, maybe it's like, ooh, that shoulder it's not working like it used to. It's not like, oh, we're knocking him out Bounty Gate. That's not what I'm saying. Just like
the Vikings fan needs to clarify.
Yeah, the Viking fan needs to clarify. Just like oh man, I got hit. Oh, that's a little sore.
Just make him think. Make him flinch a little bit.
99.9% is all mental. And then you got Deshaun Watson coming back. We're going to even see what he's like coming off of his ACL, which, a side note, watch the Dan Patrick interview with him. He's wearing jeans where there's a big hole right there on the knee. What do you see right down the middle of his kneecap?
Big scar?
You see that surgery scar, and I saw it, and I kind of just cringed. I'm like, oh, well, they had that ACL scar.
Speaking of interviews, I'm pretty sure it was him that this one was. It wasn't paying attention to it. It was on in the background.
Yeah. But
they were having a little thing before the Super Bowl, and it was just talking about the recovery, and they're throwing balls just to see how it works, and he's hitting all these targets. And it was funny because at the end there's this one target that because of the angle it was difficult, and you just see the competitor of give me another ball, miss, give me another ball.
You're talking about what quarterback are you talking about?
I thought it was Watson. I was not paying attention. It was on in the background, so it could have been somebody else, but I thought it was...
It was during Super Bowl week?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Here's what they were doing. I'm going to let you in on this because I love this. So they had a ton of quarterbacks in. Alex Smith was in, Aaron Rodgers, Eli Manning, Deshaun Watson, Dan Marino was in. So it all started with Alex Smith's interview, where McLovin kind of made fun of his arm strength. So what they did was they had McLovin go down the studio and have a helmet on.
Yeah.
And they had these quarterbacks basically throw at McLovin.
Nice.
So it's basically throwing at McLovin. Yeah, he's trying to catch it, but like Alex Smith whipped those things. And like Aaron Rodgers threw one that kind of went high, left a mark on the window. So basically, it was just target practice for McLovin.
This one was not throwing it at McLovin.
Okay.
This was throwing it at actual targets. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting to see the competitor side of it of misses that last target, give me another football. They're literally kind of like, you can tell they're with the other guy who's there with him. They're in his ear saying,
I see it.
Get him to stop throwing these damn footballs. We need to do something else here.
The thing I looked up.
It was fun.
This is the interview that I'm looking at. Is a live look-in from, but this is the April of 2017 is when they had Deshaun Watson in throwing at target. So whatever it was. I know they had Deshaun Watson in for Super Bowl week, but any final team you want to mention in this final 11 picks of the mock draft we got? or players?
I just really want to give a shout out to Darius Leonard. I think that he's going to surprise some people. He's super small town kind of guy, or small school, but this is a guy who's honestly inside linebackers. It's a little thin, I think, for this. Well, I guess it's not really that thin, but it's just one of those ones where I think there's a gap, quite a big gap between those top guys and where everyone else is. So this is a kid. I'm saying. He's going to climb up, man.
I'm telling you, like, finding this PNG is going to be... I'm actually going to look right now on the podcast. I'm going to let all you guys see if I can find it right now. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to use a NFL logo. I've got it. I've got it here, but... Oh, man. I didn't think we'd use a South Carolina State logo in a mock draft. It's here. I believe he's the first South Carolina State player to be in a mock draft.
The other guy, Texas San Antonio, he's probably the first one, too.
We've used that logo before.
Probably you guys on Primetime Podcast have.
We've used it on the basketball side, I think.
Yeah.
I think on the basketball side, because I remember talking Roadrunners for that. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think of our mock draft down below in the comment section. I want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube. I want to thank you guys for listening on podcast services around the world. Housekeeping here at the end. Check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. That's how you help support us. Make sure we do what we're able to do for you each and every day. Make sure to bookmark mostvaluablepodcast.com. That's when you're going to hit everything that Most Valuable Podcast is putting out each and every day. Make sure to go on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, give the Onside Kick a 5-star rating. It would mean the world to us. And the last one I am forgetting is what I'm wearing, the t-shirt. Go check out our Square store down below in the description to get yourself one of these Most Valuable Podcast t-shirts as well. Want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. As always, before I forget, our next mock draft, March 13th. That's when we're doing it. That's when we're recording it tentatively. Yep. The week of March 13th is when our next mock draft will be. For basketball fans out there, the next Fast Break mock draft is coming later this week. We're recording that on Friday. Got everything out of the way. This is where you guys come in. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And as always, have a good day, everybody.